Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Soulful Intuitive. Today, we are going to talk about rejection. It's a topic that's familiar to all of us, it's part of life, and it doesn't feel good most of the time. I am going to talk about rejection mainly in relationship situations, but also it could be applied to all the areas. It could be applied to your romantic relationships. It could be applied to your job applications. It could be even applied to your relationship with yourself. So rejection is considered a negative experience for most of us because it plays very closely to our sense of insecurities. The message that we get by being rejected is usually that we're not good enough. And that's painful. That is very painful to be experiencing that because we want to feel whole and we want to feel secure in who we are and all of our qualities all the time. So we should look at it as, or somebody very wise told me a long time ago that rejection is universal protection. When I was very young, like most young people, I just dreamed about being in a romantic relationship where I am feeling loved and secure and sought after all the time, because I just didn't really feel that with myself. And I was externally looking for someone to come in on a white horse and make me feel all those beautiful feelings that I couldn't feel otherwise on my own. So basically, I was looking for external validation. I was looking for someone outside of me to come and make me feel whole, to come and make me feel perfect, to come and make me feel loved, to come and make me feel at home. And I wasn't feeling any of those feelings on my own. I was feeling very insecure. I was feeling very inadequate. I had just finished my very first serious relationship that left me very wounded, left me feeling very hurt, and I didn't have the tools to help myself. So therefore, I was like on a mission to find someone that come and tell me and come and make me feel like I was okay, that I was not any of those feelings that I was feeling when that relationship came to an end. So most of our primary relationships mirror one of the relationships that we had with our primary caregivers, one of our parents. And unfortunately, it's usually the dysfunctional one that we experience either with one of our parents or both of them. So for example, if we had a narcissistic parent, father or mother, we usually tend to gravitate towards someone with those qualities because it's familiar to us and it's not as alarming because we have grown up with that person and we have seen the way that they deal with us. And also the universe always brings people forward in your life. So you can go back to those days in your younger years to heal the wounds that those people, usually the parents, have caused in our psyche. And it's difficult. And relationships, as much as fun that they can be, they're actually tools for self-development. They usually mirror exactly how we feel on the inside. So for example, people always wonder that it's magic, that they just walk into the room and then they start talking to someone. out of like hundreds or sometimes tens of people in that room, they're gravitated towards that one person and just think it's a coincidence, and it's not. There are no coincidences. Your vibes, your energies match, and your energies and who you are match on all forms. So for example, if you're an insecure person, you are only going to attract someone with the same amount and level of insecurities, even though maybe at the first glance it's not visible to you or your friends or your family members. So for example, going back to the narcissists are very wounded people as children, and they have no sense of self and they have no self-esteem, but they mask it with this facade, with this mask of larger than life personalities. But if you're actually able to see beyond the mask, they are very, very, very insecure people. So they usually attract the same people in terms of insecurities, just on the other side of the spectrum. They usually attract empaths. And empaths have a gift of feeling your feelings and at times just giving you what you need. But empaths can also be very insecure. They just didn't really go to the narcissistic way of expression of insecurity. They're just, suffering from their insecurities in their own ways. So therefore, the narcissists usually feed their insecurities by taking and taking and taking from an empath. And the empath actually feel their own sense of self-worth by giving and giving and giving. So they feel their purpose, they think, is to just service others and ignore themselves, which is not very loving, which is not the act of self-love. When you ignore yourself, when you ignore your needs, when you ignore that inner voice inside of you that tells you that, you're this, what you're doing, this person or these acts of service are not giving you the high vibe and high energy. They're not guiding you to be the better version of yourself. And by you giving and giving and giving, you're hoping that the taker, in this case the narcissist, one day is going to turn around and give you that appreciation and the value that you don't feel internally. And that's just one example of matching up with like your insecurity with someone else who has the same level of insecurities, but maybe in different areas. So for example, let's say you apply for a job, and you're applying for that job for the wrong reasons, because you want to make money, you want to prove to everyone else how worthy you are because the title is a mouthful, and you're just thinking to yourself, oh, if I get this job, I can prove to my mom and dad or my friends or my family or my neighbor that I'm very skilled, that I'm very sought after, that I'm hot, that I'm worthy. And you don't get that job. And it feels so horrible. You feel rejected. You don't want to tell anyone. You feel like you're not good enough. But really, if you think about that, if you had gotten that job, then you wouldn't have to face those feelings of inadequacy, because that job would have given you, for a short period of time, a sense of accomplishment and a sense of pride. But it's an external way to fill that void that you have on the inside, which is that sense of inadequacy. So one of my friends a long time ago, he was just talking to me and really wanted to find a partner who's very muscular, who's very, what's the term, like who's a gym rat. But he wasn't. He was very twinky, and he just didn't look like that. And I just told him, hey, listen, if you want to attract someone like that, you're gonna have to be that person. You have to be the change that you want to see in others. You have to basically become what you want to be, even if that person that you're attracted to is your destination, is your goal. But if you're not that person, if you think that by being with someone who's very muscular or is very fit, you're gonna like prove to someone that you are deserving and you're just that attractive. And I mean, that's just like a very shallow example, but basically that's not going to make you feel wholesome. That's not going to make you feel confident. So to finish that story, of that friend of mine just started working out every day, would wake up at 5 a.m. And within a year, he was a very fit, muscular man. And sure enough, he then started attracting guy after guy after guy who, looked very muscular. However, that was like an external focus. Of course, it brought him discipline. It proved to him that if he set his mind to do something, he can do it. So that opened so many other doors in terms of education and job and occupation. His just life started to shape up and get better. However, the quality of the relationships was just not there because the focus was very external. So then, sure, he was getting all these muscular men, but it really wasn't turning into a full-blown, meaningful relationship. So sure, he was getting them, but then he was being rejected at the end because his emotional needs were not being met. So that's just one example. Let's just focus on like relationships. I'm one of my really good friends just is dying to have a relationship, and they think that would solve all the problems. They think that by finding someone who would see how wonderful they are, then they're going to not feeling so bad about themselves. But that's an illusion. It's not the truth. Because if you aren't proud of you, if you don't love you, if you don't see yourself as wonderful, how do you expect others to see the same thing? And even if you manage to trick them for the first week or month or year that you are all those things, eventually the truth will come out. And then what? So, you don't have to love all parts of you, but you have to accept it, and you have to be like proud of who you are. And you don't have to love the fact that you're balding or you're aging, but you have to accept it. And once you accepted it, you come to peace with it. And once you're in peace with who you are, then others will find you attractive. Then others will find you exhilarating. Then others will find you alluring. So rejection isn't a bad thing. Rejection means a few things. Rejection means that it's time to work on yourself. Rejection means external validation ain't gonna work. Rejection means that person or that job or that house isn't for your best benefit. So all of my 20s, I was looking for the best mate, the best partner. And I would get very heartbroken when I would set my eyes on someone and then for one reason or another, it wouldn't happen. But now in my 40s, and I look back and I thank God that I'm so thankful that none of those relationships worked, because if they had worked, I wouldn't be where I am with my partner, because sometimes you just don't see the whole picture. Sometimes you're so focused on short-term gain, which is that momentary feeling of being wholesome, that momentary feeling of being loved and being cherished. And now when I talk to my friends and when I talk to my clients, and I hear some of them just hurting, they really want it, and they want it now, and I understand it. I sympathize with it, because I think we've all been there when we think that is going to solve all of our problems, and as a matter of fact, it will only add to our problems. I was talking to one of my friends and I said, hey, listen, would you look in the mirror and like just genuinely say to yourself that I would date you, that I would take you on a date and I would treat you nicely. I would treat you very well. If you can't say that to yourself, no one else will do the same. If you're hurting yourself every day by ignoring your needs, by being stagnant, by being sad, by just relying on self-pity, by not taking the right actions into your self-development, by not really seeing all of your good qualities and all the other qualities that you need to work on, by not accepting yourself, then how do you expect other people to do the same thing? They just won't. And as a matter of fact, you wouldn't do it either. If you're dating someone who's always down on themselves, how long are you going to go on just telling them, no, but you're perfect. No, but you're good. No, but you're not fat. No, but you're not old. And at some point, you're just going to give up because you can't change them. No matter what you say to them, they won't change their mind until they decide that they're going to do it. Kind of like our mothers that tell us that we're gifted and we're beautiful and we're lovely. But we never believe them because they're our mothers. We need to come to a place where we see ourselves as valuable, where we see ourselves as gifted, when we see ourselves as a human being that comes with a package of good, not so good, and a little bad. And accept it all. And accept the parts that we can't change, and realize and focus on the parts that we can change. But rejection is actually protection in regards to further pain, future heartache, and going down the wrong path. Because let's face it, if you had won the lottery, for example, something that everybody wants to do, what happens to them? Divorces, bankruptcies, because they're not there. They think that momentary gain is going to solve all the problems, and it won't. Because regardless of who we are, we need to work on ourselves. And as the gains come with hard work, the universe opens its arms to us more and more and will receive us, but only after we have received ourselves. So please don't be down on yourself. Please don't count the rejections in the past and look at it as being unlucky and unlovable and undeserved. Just look at it as a blessing. Look at the house that you put an offer on, or the apartment that you put an offer on that you didn't get, as a blessing, because most of the time you will end up with something even better, because the universe will always have the best for us in store, even when we don't see it, because we don't have all the data, we don't know the path, and we don't know the miraculous ways that the universe put things together. We just sometimes want to scream, pull our hair out, and stomp our feet because we want it when we want it and how we want it. And that doesn't matter how old we are. We can be 5 or we can be 95. So please be grateful for all the things that didn't happen. Take them as a sign and take a good look inside as what it is that we were trying to gain from those positions, relationships, and situations that we were so focused on and we didn't get. And you will find that a lot of those situations and people, we wanted it and we wanted them because we wanted to prove something outside of us. But when we actually do gain it on the inside, it will come to us anyway, because vibrations and energies always match. And if you are vibrating high on the inside, and if you're in full acceptance of who you are, and if you love yourself, and if you want to date you, guess what? Others will too. And you will attract people who are equally as in love with themselves and as accepted of who they are as you are. So you don't have to struggle, because then it won't be you complete me. It will be we will walk this road together, hand in hand, but equally as complete. Thank you very much for listening to me and for joining me on this very cold, snowy day. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye.